And it's a beautiful day to have a beautiful day. GM on this beautiful day. Good morning to Web3 with Barocco, Sep, and Mando. Tune in live at 10:30 and it's all on Rock Radio. It's a beautiful day to have a beautiful day. GM Rock Radio.
Yo, what up? Good morning, GM. Wednesday, March 29th, 2023. Look at that. Another beautiful day to have a beautiful day. The sun is shining in Montreal. It's above 0 degrees. I can feel the spring finally coming, hopefully, at one point. And I got my co-host in the house, OSF, Mando. How y'all doing? How y'all living?
Yeah, guys.
Oh,
We're good. You can hear me? I thought I got
we
an
can
echo.
hear you.
My camera's fucked, isn't it?
I'm literally muted, so it's definitely one of you two there.
Well, no, there's nothing going on here. There's absolutely nothing wrong. There's no bugs. Everything's fine. You see, when you're muted, everything works perfectly. Now you're muted for
Now you're muted, mate. We can't hear you.
Everyone saw that echo. Everyone now knows it's one of you two.
There was no echo. Freed is trolling.
Okay.
I was muted.
Freed is trolling. Good morning. How are you guys doing?
I'm good, except I'm feeling very orange on this camera. I think I just made like a last minute setting which turned myself orange. So
Let's go for a 10. Yeah.
Whoa.
He's like, yeah. Ovi looking crisp in his 4K HD. Yeah, you definitely looking crisp today, Mando. No, Ovi. You always look crisp. I love when he does that. Like it's so funny when he like.
You see my settings on the camera come up, and I do that.
Yeah, we do. That's the funniest thing. It's like they show like the same thing you see on your screen. We see on our screen whenever you do that, and I find that absolutely hilarious. So I love that. So okay, you guys are great. Anyways, I got thrown off by the whatever happened. But anyways, today on the show, today, DJ's market report as usual, macro NFT crypto. Blur extends the farming by 30 more days until everything crashed. Just kidding, but we never know what happens. But that caused a lot of conversation around the table on the Twitter space, which leads me to ask: has Blur been a positive or net negative to the NFT space? We're going to be discussing that. If you have strong opinions, you can request to speak. We don't have a guest today, so we can talk today. We can definitely talk. So if you have a strong opinion at some point and you feel like sharing something, you're definitely welcome to join. Disney backtracking on the metaverse plan. So I think they laid off like the team that was responsible for the metaverse work. UK government drops NFT plans. Look at that, Rishi. Okay. Looks like UK might be the place where we're looking at to moving into next, right? With their JPEGs.
Oh, no. Drops is in a bad way.
Oh,
yeah,
drops
like they
and
scrap
plans.
plans, yeah.
Oh, damn. Sorry, I'm used to NFT drops, so I was like,
bad language for me.
Yeah. No, it's fine. It's good language because it causes conversation.
Barrier, yeah.
So the language is language barrier. I hate you. And how bad would Yuga Labs failing be for the NFT space? This is probably after Nate Alex reposted Mando's tweet yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, and also Mando's copy pasta. Mando delivered us the best copy pasta on Sunday when it comes to that. So, anyways. We'll be discussing all this, and as usual, you'll be able to claim your free stub. Reminder, Friday, the window opens for burning. And I ran the numbers, and I looked at how stubs is looking, with regards to supply, everything. This is going to be really fun. Especially as other artists came in and say, nah, I'm doing like 5 or 10 stubs burnt per minute. Like, it's going to get really, really interesting. I was running through some stuff yesterday, looking at it, I was like, damn, this is actually pretty smart. I like how it's been built. So big shout out to Katie and the Fair team, of course. Everyone working on this as usual. So anyways, without further ado, let's get right into it.
Daily Market Report. Brought to you by Rug Radio. Joseph, what's the word?
Yeah, it's a strong day. Strong day in the markets. We're up 0.9% on the S&P 500. We're up 1.1% on the NASDAQ. Interest rates, they have sold off a decent amount this week, but they seem to have stabilized around here. We're actually back out to 4.08% on 2-year, which was only just at like 3.6, 3.7% a few days ago. So that's a huge move, but it seems to at least have stabilized now around these levels. One thing I would say about traditional markets, things kind of remind me a little bit of what happened with FTX last year, when it was like, oh, FTX went down and there's going to be all this contagion stuff, and we're going to hear about all these bankruptcies and all this other stuff, and it's going to be really bad. And then we had a couple, and then time went on, and that was kind of it. There was nothing else that really got announced, and people were worried about it. And the longer that you have without any news, the more the market starts to rally, because it's like, no news is good news. That's the kind of like meta we're in on that front right now. And I do think it's the same thing with traditional markets, where everyone's like, oh, like, which other bank's going to be affected? Like, who's going to go next? Like, we had the issues with Credit Suisse. Like, what about Deutsche Bank? What about Bank X? What about Bank Y? And the longer that you go where there's no headlines and nothing gets announced, and things don't start getting crushed, the greater the propensity there is for the markets to rally. And I think we're kind of heading towards that now, where we've now had probably about a week without any big or major headlines, and that's kind of a good thing. So I think that's one of the reasons maybe why we're seeing a bit of a bounce in stocks. We talk about important data points. Tomorrow we have the PCE, which is another measure of inflation. It's actually what the Fed theoretically focuses on. I don't know if in practice that's what they focus on, but we'll have that data point tomorrow, which will be interesting. I think the expectation with that is 4.6%, and that's what it was last month. And then crypto is really strong, man. Like this morning when I woke up, ETH was at like 1820, Bitcoin was at 28.7. I think we're off those highs of today, but there still seems to be like a very strong rebound of crypto every time we take a bit of regulatory FUD, we come back raging. So good price action on the crypto front there as well.
Yeah, check price this morning. Good price. Definitely good price. I mean, in the words of the great Mando, I need a mug here. I need a mug that says it's so bad, it's good, with Mando's face on it. Like if someone wants to make me a Mando mug with it's so bad, it's good, I'll fund it, whatever it is. I'll pay for shipping and everything. But if someone just can do it for me, I really want that. Just to be reminded of that every single time. I'm scared of a headline, though. I think I'm over it now. But maybe other people can make great use of that. But yeah, sorry, I didn't share the CoinMarketCap stuff because I'm assuming like everybody looks at CoinMarketCap all day, every day anyways already. But yeah, like Ovi said, there was a big jump on Bitcoin actually, because I think ETH was leading the rally yesterday, right? I think, Mando, you mentioned that. And so Bitcoin up 5 points on 24 hours and ETH 3. So you're looking at Bitcoin right now. That's the Bitcoin chart. It's not bad. I mean, it's looking pretty solid. Let me zoom out here for you guys to do your thing. And then 28.3, and then ETH is blah 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 1800. So we absolutely love to see it. How are the alts performing, guys? I know the last couple of weeks the narrative was heavily on the usual suspect with Bitcoin and Ethereum, but however, let's see how alts are. Wow,
all the same, really. Like
XRP and Cardano just get pumped like crazy every time these run. Like it's crazy. Like,
XRP's on a big move, but generally Bitcoin dominance continues to be the theme. I think it's hitting roughly the highs that it's been at for the last year. So we are, it's still the theme that Bitcoin's leading this rally. I thought yesterday with the whole CFTC ETH thing that you'd see ETH like not really being left behind necessarily anymore, like it was there for a while, but it still feels like it's Bitcoin dominance, and that might be. I mean, I continue to think that'll be a theme of this year, but I might be wrong. But yeah, generally you should another move up in XRP, which is the Ripple. I think it's really just about the resolution of that court case.
What about Cardano? Like genuinely asking.
Well, nothing ever gets built on Cardano. But, yeah, no, I don't know.
Be careful. You're gonna have the army at you. Be careful what you say. No.
Really, Cardano is like a very decentralized chain, so it actually is arguably maybe even more decentralized than ETH. But the questions have always been about like the applications being built upon it and actually how much use cases are. Like if you look at active addresses, the highest is always the ETH or the layer 2s on ETH, like Matic. But you don't really see the same on some of these other chains, which points to the idea that the technology might be interesting, but you're just not seeing the development of dApps.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see what happens on that front. We have not much to. I guess we're just gonna wait. You know, it's crazy how this space you just navigate. You wake up one morning and you just like don't know what kind of lawsuit or crazy thing is happening. I love those. I used to drink those every day before school as a kid.
Yeah, that's so nice.
Yeah, my mom would put them in my lunchbox just to keep my energy going. It's pretty healthy.
That's why
There's quite a lot of there was quite a lot of FUD today, though, right? Like I think
was there?
Yeah, like well, I put it out today, but you read the news stories. It's surprising that this is happening. Binance, it looks like there's now fresh allegations that they were tied to China for a long time, which basically creates a path for the US to come in very aggressively. I think towards Binance and Binance US. There's also been just over 2 billion of outflows, which is not small, but again, maybe not massive given how big Binance is, but not great. The EU, they're pushing towards some regulation where they're gonna, if you do any transfer of over 1,000 euros, I think is the equivalent in crypto, they're going to ask for KYC, which is similar to what you have with banks in Europe. Like if you start doing large transfers, you need to have like a KYC situation set up. So it's basically replicating the banking system. And it kind of just points to the idea that I think we're going to have KYC across the space if this is going to be adopted. And then we had two like quite big hacks. Rari, which is like a DeFi 2.0 protocol, and SafeMoon both got hacked yesterday.
Yeah, I saw the SafeMoon thing. That's crazy. I read this tweet from this guy who said it took me 2 minutes of reading the line of code to figure out where the exploit was, and they managed to exploit for what? $8 million, $8 or $9 million, I think, something like that. So much for having safe in the first part of your name. But apparently it was like I need to find the tweet for you guys again. But when I looked at it, I laughed, and I'm not knowledgeable in coding and stuff, but it was hilarious. The person was like, it took me 2 minutes reading through a line of code to figure out what they did wrong. But yeah, you're right. I mean, there's still like a lot of stuff going on, and like even the other day, like a couple of weeks ago, it was like Euler, right, was like hacked for like 190 mil, but the person ended up like returning the funds, like most of the ETH. It was like 50,000 ETH or something. Which is the type of story that you love to see. I didn't really see much of it on my timeline for some reason, but I thought it was cool to note that. And then there you go. So that's the tweet. I found it for you guys because Fubar had shared it. But basically, DeFi Marks, the Moon Marks, that SafeMoon was just hacked for 8.9 million. After 2 minutes looking at the newest SafeMoon contract that was able to identify the extremely obvious exploit, the attacker took advantage of the public burn function. This function let any user burn tokens from any addresses. The attacker used this function to remove SFM tokens from the SafeMoon, blah, 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 liquidity pool, artificially raising the price of SafeMoon. So anyways, he's explained that. So it's basically the attacker was then able to sell SafeMoon into this LP at a grossly overpriced rate within the same transaction, wiping out the remaining of WBNB in the liquidity pool. You know what's crazy in this space though? The people who like do all these things, they're all like really freaking smart. Like these damn hackers and all that, they're just like, it's a whole other like level of like navigating a business or whatever it is in the space. Not saying SafeMoon was a business or not, but I'm just saying in general, it's actually pretty wild navigating the space. And yes, I know I'm seeing all the comments. I know I'm seeing that Camigos at 0.44. I'm seeing everybody in the YouTube and on Twitter hit me with that. I can't believe it. This is absolutely insanity. I get, you know what? We'll talk about it. You know what? Without further ado, let's just talk NFTs.
Who is the man, macro daddy of the land? Can you dig it?
Yeah, GM. Look, it feels as though that's the only real news out, right? Yeah, this Nakamigos mint, which was hyped. This mint was part of Satoshi is open edition. You got to then mint this for free, or at least for a very very low price.
It was free. I'm pretty sure it was free. Or no, 0.05, right? Or something like that. You're right. You're right.
And it's now gone to 0.4 ETH. Seemed like they did some honorees yesterday, which seemed to go well. Like every single influencer that got an honorary seemed to tweet about it, so which I thought was pretty funny. But yeah, it's easy to win over influencers.
What do you mean? The honorary slaps. Like I get an honorary like every day since 2 years. I mean that. Like I get tagged in the different projects honorary all the time. These are pretty cool. But like the X copy one is gangster. I have no idea where this whole thing comes from. So it's an anonymous team. It was delivered through Satoshi's end of Satoshi thingy, right? But it's not Satoshi. And apparently it's a team that's in the know. And my thoughts is like they're definitely in the know because first of all, the selection of people is pretty good. Sadly, OSF was omitted from it. And so, I know OSF is very upset about that. So if the founders of Nakamigos are listening to this, you're really upset, OSF. But then like the thing is like the other night I was in this Twitter space with a bunch of I think that's what I told you guys, or I was talking about on the night show. It was like Friday night. And it was like less than 0.1. I was like, dude, this thing's going to take off. Because like every time we have this community thing going on, like it always almost inevitably always just like pops. And here you go. Yesterday it was like a pullback to 0.16. It was not worthy of like, I guess, like talking about it so much because like actually, it was kind of down and stuff and whatnot. And there you go. Today it's up 110%. It's wild.
Look, yeah, I mean, it looks like the fact that it came out from another project, I think, is good. A project which people, I don't know, it's a bit down and out, right? That open edition, but it's like the 2-bit or 8-bit art, pixelated art that people love. Kind of hit the nail on the head. It has pretty low percentage owners, so I'm not going to say I haven't. I don't think this is not centralized. Maybe around a few pretty big wallets, but yeah, let's see how it develops.
I'm just like I don't know what you guys say about this, but I know like these projects that gets mad polarizing, and then people get like super like angry about them for some reason. But I think this
doesn't anger me at
all.
No,
you guys.
I just think it's one of those ones where it's like I don't know. I get it. Like, what was the other one which is kind of similar? Aliens. Do you remember that? Which is like another like pixelated art.
Yeah, I remember.
OGs pushing it like it did really
well.
But
it didn't have the community thing. Like these MFers are like on space. These MFers are on, but there was no like that many people. Like I know a lot of people are pushing it, but there was not that much of a push at first.
Oh, dude, the push has been unbelievable over the last 3 days.
It wasn't on my timeline.
It's going to be the number one most it's going to go to the top of the NFT Inspect rankings.
I saw that. My timeline must be very well curated if that's the case, because I've only started seeing a lot of it in the last 2 days. They're in our requests right now, all of them on Spaces.
I'm glad it's going well.
Yeah,
I think people would need projects like this to get the culture back. Like people have a lot of fun with it. Like I agree. Like they do look good.
Do you like my honorary?
On the head.
Do you like my honorary with the microphone on the?
I didn't know what that was.
Yeah,
that's that microphone. Cool. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. I just realized it's a microphone. They're very mindful. Yo, how do you feel? How do you feel about it, Ovi? About the honorary specifically?
Smart. And like I definitely know some people who bought.
This is cool, right?
After having an honorary, so I think it's smart. Yeah, that's really sick. The X copy one.
Yo, do you guys realize that the guy who said he will get a tat on his ass if it reaches 1 ETH, like it's getting closer and closer by the minute? Like I'm literally giving.
Dude, I think it will go to 1 ETH. I think it will have like a crazy spike, and then I think it will just drop down and trend to zero, like most of these things. But
I'm gonna put it here.
I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to 1 ETH.
In case of an investigation by any federal entity or similar, I do not have any involvement with this group or with the people in it. I do not know how I am here, probably added by a third party. I do not support any members by any actions of this group.
There you go. Now you can say what you just said. We're clear. We're good. And so it says, so that 420 guy, I mean, I definitely want to talk to him the second this hits, if it does go to 1 ETH, because I want to talk about, and it says Farouk's face on my ass. It doesn't say like a Nakamigo face. It doesn't say artwork, whatever. It reads, if Nakamigos hit 1 ETH, I'm getting a tattoo of Farouk's face on my ass. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pin this tweet to the Twitter Spaces, and everybody that's on the Twitter Space, there's over 300 people right now, make sure you share it and make sure that you comment on it, okay? Everybody, let's use the power of the network effects. And let's see if that happens. And I would absolutely love to see that go down, personally. It's pretty funny. Look, I don't know how long the music is going to go for. There's going to be a point in time where, of course, it's going to retrace. It's not a hate message on Nakamigos. I'm a fan. You all know I'm all for the community-led projects like that pump and that go fucking crazy, and I love it. Like, if it wasn't for all the hate I usually get, like, I would have bought this on Saturday, and I would have been all these Twitter Spaces fucking making, like, going crazy with them like we did with the Goblins. I had a blast, but sadly, having fun given who we are is you're not like different levels of fun to this stuff. Like, if I was doing half of the stuff these people are doing at Nakamigos and the way they're talking about it on the timeline, we'd be in trouble over here. But we waited long enough to talk about them. So I think we're allowed to talk about it now. And if you're buying it now, definitely buy at your own risk and perils, and be careful with it, as at some point the hot potato is going to potate.
It's a good question though. Like, let's just take it a step back. Like, why do people get annoyed about certain projects doing well? Like, would you prefer it if it was like a really hyped big team?
They get annoyed because it's not the projects they're holding.
Yeah,
I know, but like, is there anything? This is what I was trying to say the other week, where like, if you tweeted out "I like NFTs" right now, people would attack you. Like, do people just not like people who are doing well on NFTs right now? Is that just
not just NFTs in general? Like, people just
in the bear market, most people, and this is sad, it's truth, and I'm sorry if it sounds harsh, a lot of people just get miserable by seeing like a lot of like yesterday I was having a conversation with Sobi on the phone, and I was like, man, like, because we were going back through like some buys that I did and what we did and like where we spent our money, and like we're like, wow, we were so stupid at some point, right? And then we're thinking, I told Sobi, I said, I don't know where I would be mentally if with all the losses, and you can go through like the losses booked are massive, right? That I booked, if I didn't have a project, a company, and something to look forward to every day, like the show, you guys, like Rug Radio, like my work. Like, if I didn't have, now picture yourself, you're a market participant in 2021, you did good, or you come in 2022, you're for sure down. You're for sure lost. No matter the project you bought, it's down. I mean, all the blue chips are fucking about to go under 3 ETH. Even the cats are like a 1 something, right? And this is not a knock on them. It's just the state of the market. And like, how do you feel about the space in general? Now, picture this. You're pissed, you're down, and you're seeing these pixelated dudes that came out of the end of Satoshi, which people were fudding already, calling that a rug, and it's a 0.4 ETH, and you missed it. So I could totally understand why some people are pissed. But just, you don't need to tweet it out. Like, you don't need to, because you just look stupid, in my opinion, hating on something on the timeline. But yeah,
is anything going to do well in this environment? Is what I'm saying. Like, if you look back at the early days of Bored Ape Yacht Club, Pranksy owned 1,500.
Yeah,
Doodles was honorees to pretty much every single influencer out there in the space. Azuki, to be fair, was a bit more balanced. It was like a hype mint, which went well and then traded up after that. But like, all of these, to some extent, they could, in the wrong light, be looked at as terrible project. Like, oh my god, this is such like a horrible marketing scheme. This is being forced upon us, all that sort of stuff. Is that just how these all start, or like? And if that's the case for 2023, are we just going to hate everything that does it? Because this, to me, objectively, looks kind of like, oh, we've seen this before, but maybe that's fine.
I mean, I think first of all, what's the most dangerous part of all this, that you see Nakamigos and you assume that every single free project that has a somewhat of a vibe is going to like pump. So that's the first, and that's a trap. So now there's going to be 10 projects that have come out between today and Sunday. I guarantee you, where people are going to try and push the Nakamigo narrative, and they're all going to go maybe to 0.1, and then they're going to 0. Now, Nakamigos is different because every now and then you have that one special one that pops out. But does that mean that it's even going to be there in 2 weeks, 3 weeks? I'm ready to take a bet from now that it'll be lower than today in 15 days. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to go out there and support the current thing for people to have fun with, right? Like, I have my one honorary now. Fuck yeah, I'm having fun on the timeline for them. And you know what? Like, Let him have it. You know, if they're gonna, you know what? I hope that every Nakamigo in the request right now, and listening to our audience that are gonna see the replay on YouTube. And by the way, we're on YouTube, pinned at the top. We're sharing live. I hope you all make money. Like we all went through a horrible bear. We're still going through a bear market, whether ETH is at 1,800 or not. Like we're literally through a bear market. All of our projects are down. Like all of them are down. And so there's like sometimes a little bit of light. You know, the spring is starting. Little bit of light for these people making 0.4 ETH a pop for people who mint at 0.05. I'll fucking take it. And if you're mad at that, then you suck. Like straight up.
Yeah.
Not you guys, of course, but like the people in general. Like if you don't like other people winning like that, then maybe look in the mirror and maybe don't be in the space because that's not what it's about. You feel me?
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm a little less like aggressive. That sucks. I can understand why it's a bit of a zero sum game. Like at this stage, like people probably just feel like I'm buying somebody else's bags and they've seen it before.
Of course.
But I do like the spirit of like getting behind stuff, and I really like Goblin Town because I was like, oh, they've really done something really
That was
innovative.
fun.
How they started, right? Like I thought it was such a cool period. I hope this does. I hope this does well. I hope it, maintains above a certain level. But
Chad Michaels in the YouTube chat. Chad Michaels in the YouTube chat. The pump isn't finished until Machi owns 50%.
Should we move on to that? That's probably the next big topic, right?
Yeah, speaking of which, we're probably gonna move on to that. We're probably gonna talk for the Nakamigos in the request. Tune in at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. Same on YouTube and same on Twitter Spaces. We have GNY3 with Thread Guy, Deez, and Sobi, where like we have more of a laid back. We'll shoot the shit about a project like that longer. So I'm sure we're gonna talk about it tonight, 100%. Because Deez bought at 0.3. Is like I bought the top and he kept going. So we're gonna talk about it. So definitely, you know what? Nakamigos unite. Pull up tonight, GNWeb3, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But let's segue because here is different. We're more segmented and we want to move to different topics on the morning show. But let's move into the next topic because we also have NFT stats, Punk9059, who just joined us on the Twitter Spaces on audio. And, talking about the joke with that Chad Michaels just put out, Blur made the headlines. Blur made the headlines all yesterday and this morning. After announcing, here, let me share it to the screen as well. They put a tweet out yesterday. Saying, we're working on something new. We originally wanted to launch April 1st, but it's going to take longer. Yes, you're right. Your baby's right. Even your baby's talking. She has an opinion on it.
Crazy.
Straight up. She said it. Second, say Blur, you were like, she's like, yo, like I'm not having it. So Blur said, we originally wanted to launch April 1st, but it's going to take longer to build it right. As consolation, bidding and listing points for season 2 will remain doubled until May 1st. Stay tuned. To which, Machi responded, fuck. Which I think that was the best reply ever. I thought it was absolutely great. But to which also 9059 Stats had an opinion where I'm finding it, where you said something along the lines of, if everything is 2x, then nothing is 2x, or something along those lines. I'm trying to find the exact tweet here. That he said, if everything is doubled, is anything doubled? Guess we're keeping the tractor and plow going for another month, which then led a conversation on timeline about, is Blur a net positive or a net negative to the NFT space, to which for now, close to 60% of 2,000 voters are saying net negative on the timeline, which is a stat also from, you know what, I'm going to go on Punk959's Twitter right now and pin that for everybody to vote. But Ovi, Mando, let me go to you guys first. What are your thoughts about this delay? What are your thoughts about the state of the market? And then, is Blur net positive or net negative to the NFT space? What are your thoughts?
It's just I'm not surprised to hear it because, like, I keep saying this. I think Blur's strategy here is to put OpenSea out of business. So, since they launched the Blur token, which I think has been over a month now, Blur has been averaging between, I would say, like a 65 to 70% market share, maybe 60 to 70% market share for over a month now, and that's because of the Blur farming. And the longer they maintain that for, the lower the revenues OpenSea makes, and then the more stressed OpenSea becomes because they probably have a much higher cost base and there are different parts of the life cycle as a company. So, Blur extending this for another month, it's just like even more. It's most pain for OpenSea more than anyone else because once again, like OpenSea is now probably going to have another month of just having 20 to 30% market shares. And this is the first time we've seen another marketplace have sustained market share over OpenSea by quite a large magnitude. Now, something that I think is noteworthy is that the actual NFT volumes, if you look at marketplace volumes, and you can see them all on the DGen's website, but they've started to drop off. We were doing about $100 million a day in marketplace volumes. That number is now more like $50 million a day. And if you look at the volumes for NFT projects, they're a lot lower. I think that's because people have kind of like stopped farming. A lot of people have lost money farming. They've stopped doing it. They stopped doing it in anticipation of the airdrop being at the end of this month. And now they've just extended it for another whole month. In fact, even longer than a whole month. If you think about it, it's going to be in the beginning of May. So people are just like, oh shit, like farmers are like, oh, I've got to do this like for another whole month to keep up and like have my points within the top 10 or top 20 or whatever it is they're targeting. But the main thing here, the main takeaway for me is like, it's another whole month of OpenSea playing second fiddle to Blur. And I guess I'm wondering like, how much longer does OpenSea have left to live with things going in the way they are? Is the answer 1 month? Is it 1 year? Is it 2 years? Like, I have no idea because I don't know what the cost base is, but that for me, I think is the most interesting thing. And has Blur ruined NFTs? Like,
No, not ruined. Is it a net positive or net negative?
Is it a net positive or a net negative? It's a tough question.
I know it's tough for you.
Controversial, but I think it will end up being a net positive. I think as it stands, it may feel like a net negative because of the way things are, but I think it will end up being a net positive. What's up, Sam?
What up, guys? How you doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks. How are you?
The man himself, Punk9059. Pinned at the top is the link to the YouTube stream. Also, at the bottom right is where you can find the link to the YouTube stream. While you're at the bottom right, drop a GM and a retweet. Sam, what do you think about this? I mean, I know you have your opinions on such. What do you think? Net positive, net negative?
I don't even want to go there. I kind of like I left the survey literally just because I was curious what other people thought.
Okay, so you leave the bomb.
Yeah. Just put out the poll. Don't worry, guys.
Well, the reason I left that is because I saw the responses to their announcement was the most vitriol I have seen in NFTs in a long time. And that surprised me because whenever I say anything, whenever I even report data that's critical of Blur, like literally, like back when royalties were kind of going from 3 to 0, and I would just show that data that royalties were low on Blur, 17 of their investors would come at me and call me an evil person. So I was used to people loving Blur. So when I saw that vitriol on that tweet, I was like, holy shit, like there's a lot of negative energy. So then I just threw the survey out there because I was kind of curious, like, you know, like what do people actually think? Was this a weird selection of people? So that was kind of the reason, because the most vitriol I've personally ever gotten on Twitter, honestly, as an NFT guy, has been when I've reported data that suggested like that Blur was taking down royalties, and their investors and the people who hate royalties and the like would just come at me so hard. So I was surprised by the response, and that was why I left.
Hashtag fuck Blur. There's RIP. Please no. Rip, nah, fuck Blur, stop this cancer 101, make it fucking stop, not gonna make it, this is fucking hilarious, clown emojis, back to back, like there's not one, please stop for the sake of the markets, my bags, my friends' bags, my family, my friends' families, please, garbage, fuck Blur, fuck off, die, F, fuck Blur.eth, tone deaf, dude, you're right.
It's nonstop.
Wow, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So
I think
Machi's response, I think Machi's basically like, I mean, they didn't just grow the pie at all. The pie is the same size. And Machi had the biggest piece of the most important pie. I mean, the biggest piece of the biggest piece, which is that first month that was meant to be double. Like he worked his ass off, lost a lot of money in the process of trying to own that piece, which was the double rewards. And now they're saying actually that double rewards piece isn't actually as big as it used to be because we're going to make a bunch of stuff double rewards. So he's like, fuck, I got to keep doing this. Like, I mean, they didn't just grow the pie. They just lowered the value of that first month. So for Machi, that's just like a bad outcome. What his response just seemed like a mathematically logical thing to say. I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, I mean, if I was Machi and for what it's worth, to his defense, like he really got in a way him and by the way, not just Machi, we're just talking about Machi because he's the most open like farmer and we're talking about it and he jokes about it a lot too, but it's actually deceitful to your user base because it said that they would stop. And then it's like they're going at it and they keep going. So it's pretty wild. I saw someone say, "Oh, matches just so blur and stuff." I don't think you can with regards to that and whatnot. I don't think there's grounds there that I think that's pushing it, but like definitely like it's kind of fucked up.
Too blur. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
I think.
What do you think, Matt? No, what's your take?
What seems clear to me now is that as the volumes and liquidity starts to dry up, the issue is that, as you know, Sam, like in the data, you have massive positive momentum in NFTs. So as that liquidity dries up, and generally we see floor prices have fallen during that period, as we go from a period of like very easy liquidity to more tight liquidity, things, and that's been happening over the last, since when did blur volumes peak? Probably like 3 weeks ago. Gradually, since that's happened, you've seen NFT floor prices go down, and statistically, if an NFT floor price has gone down, isn't it something like 70% likely that it's going to be lower the next day, Sam, or something along those lines? It's like really likely. So as soon as you start getting a negative trend in NFT floor price, it's really, really, really tough to stop it. What I'm a little bit confused about is when the liquidity was drawn in at the start, we didn't really see that massive uptick in floor prices. What we saw is a slight uptick, and we had pretty healthy January and February, at least in terms of volumes, but we didn't see that massive uptick in floor prices, which I think we're now going to see the downturn of. Maybe not in like punks, because it feels like they were maybe farmed slightly less, or a couple of other like generative projects or projects which weren't really the key to blur farming. But when that liquidity starts coming out of the system, you're going to see a positive momentum in floor prices, and it's very, very tough to stop that. Like, it's not like much new news has come out over CloneX, but they're just trending lower. Same with Doodles. Same with. I mean, I guess there's been some negative about some of those, but some projects are just trending lower, and that it's like really, really tough to stop that. And that's why people are getting annoyed, because they're sitting there going like, right, this is going to now be a more drawn out process. This is going to take like 3-4 months for this initial surge to die out, and that could be a painful period of positive momentum, downward price action in NFTs. I think partly it was because ETH rallied quite hard in the first couple of months of the year, and we didn't see that massive uptick in floor prices from the increase in liquidity, because the increase in ETH meant dollar price of most things went up higher. Like the floor price of most things are above, of like punks and apes are now above 100K. Before, at the back end of last year, they were comfortably below that. So I think that partly tempered it. I do think now we're in for a pretty tough, drawn out liquidity extraction period here.
I think that apes were a I think your situation is a microcosm. It's basically what every single collection went through. And we just saw it with punks too, right? So apes was at like 70 ETH floor, something like that. Then the airdrop, the first airdrop happens, people get all this free money, and there's all this incentive, and they realize, holy shit, you can make a lot of money farming blur, and they bid up prices, right? So apes went from like 70 to 78, nothing crazy, but it wasn't just 78. It was people bidding for 200 at 78. So like clones maybe went from 6 to 6.8, but there were bids for the entire collection.
Sorry to interrupt, but Farouk, I think you need to unmute yourself on Twitter just to.
Oh shit! I didn't realize I muted myself on Twitter. My bad.
Sorry,
Sorry, everyone. Sorry, Twitter Space. You should have been on YouTube.
Okay. Yeah. So what I was saying is, I think apes are like are basically what happened in everyone. And since you guys are here, we could it's easy to remember. The ape floor is maybe 70. Then you get the Blur season 1 airdrop. People get like $100 million gets dropped, and people realize, holy shit, there's a lot of money in bidding, right? That's how you win here. So people bid up the price of apes. It goes from maybe 70 to 78. Not like a huge move. Maybe clones went from 6 to 7, but it wasn't just that it went to 60 or 78. It was that there were bids for 200 of them. For clones, there were probably bids for the entire project. So I just think a ton got dumped in there. And then you just ended up with these guys who just got really, really long clones, doodles, moonbirds, bored apes. We just saw it with punks. And slowly we've just seen those NFTs come out. And it was real sellers. It was guys like you who were kind of in it for the long haul, who were getting rid of 70 apes. And there just aren't 70 new ape buyers out there. So but you don't see that for 3 to 4 weeks, because the airdrop farmers keep bidding and recycling them over and over and over. And I think you know, in Moonbirds, one dude sold 500 in 10 minutes. You know, and he took the floor from 6 to 4, but that dude had gotten so long because of all these real people who were owning them and a bit more patient who were like, fuck, I might not get this opportunity to sell all this many birds at once, or doodles or clones. And we've seen it every project. And like right now, we're just seeing the after effects of that, where like people just start like slowly dumping, but they recycle it to each other, so it delays the process. And I think like basically all that recycling means nothing. But real sellers who sell, and then who are the real buyers who buy? And that's like what we're seeing there aren't as many of. And the other thing is, I think when you see someone dump 60 Bored Apes at once, it makes them less interesting to buy. Like all of this game is about FOMO, momentum, and branding. And if you see someone sell 200 doodles at once, and you used to think that your like Viking hat was special, and one just got dumped with 200, you're kind of like, I'm going to stay away. Like I could not have less FOMO right now. So I just think like the whole branding of NFTs, of traits, of feeling connection, of feeling like you had something unique. I feel like that has been kind of what has really caused this acceleration.
It like took the soul out of like collecting for the sake of collecting like actual collectibles. Whereas like you and I were kind of having discussion in private where it was like, it kind of took that away, where it's like now everything's a shitcoin. Like literally like, this is definition, like when it trades like that, this definition of altcoin with picture, right? Like Kobe and stuff and such we're talking about, it's literally that. Like it's like NFTs right now, essentially for the most part are being treated as altcoin with picture, while you also have, but then you have the other side of subside group of the space that treats it genuinely as like a community, and they want to participate, and they're building culture, and they're actually in it for like something bigger than just the money. I saw Mando's tweet the other day asking people like, are you in it for the money, for the culture, for the this, for that? For me, the answer would have been all the above, like all four of the options that you gave. But for most people right now, when you have like tools like Blur that are being put out and like that are like kind of rewarding you for treating it like a commodity or like a shit coin, then I feel like this is where it becomes like a net negative versus like a net positive. Now, maybe that will change in 30 days. I don't know what the plans were for April 1st. Maybe they had insane plans that would actually turn this thing around. But as long as the farming thing is going on, this is not going to change. And so 30 more days, I feel like that's why people are like, fuck, like, because they were probably excited to see what happens on the other side of Blur. Because that's actually the conversation I'm sure you have on your show, on your YouTube, and that we have is like, what happens when this all turns off? But we're like, oh, okay, we're in for another 30 days of that. And it's not great. It made me not want to, like, probably one of the reasons why I didn't trade those Nakas, honestly, is because I just don't know at what point, like, someone comes in and does what you just talked about, Moonbirds. I don't know at what point someone comes in and just dumps like 1,000. Like probably there's a lot of whales right now in this project, and at 0.45, and by the way, it's going crazy right now. I'm looking at it. Someone says, you know what? I just made 100 ETH. I just made 40 ETH, I just made 20 ETH. And then for some people, I just made 10 ETH. I'm out. And they dump everything at once. So
that's a really important point. What I do think Blur has been good for is being good for whales. That's right. What it's been good for.
Your ape sale has never been possible without the help of a tool like Blur.
And it's obvious, and it's not like we're not like it's across the board. If you were very long NFTs going into this, and you'd been accumulating during the second half of 2022 when things were terrible and there were like unique owners was going down kind of across the board, this was a good period for you because you were able to exit to people who had an economic incentive, which is perhaps different than owning them over the long term. So it really benefited whales that were building up positions in 2022 or maybe even before that. Obviously, we were in Bored Apes for even longer than that. But if you had done that trade where you bought a bunch of these NFTs in the depths of the back end of 2022 or the bear market, and then you sold them into Blurbids, that was a good trade. I wanted to see though, Sam, like, have you seen that positive momentum? Has that increased? Have you looked at that in the data? Like since, because that's what it feels like to me. Like what you just said, if someone sells 300 doodles, no one wants to buy them, and they probably don't want to buy them for like 50%. You know, like they really want to go down a lot. So like, have you seen an increase in momentum since Blur?
What do you mean? In which
in like
selling
as
momentum?
in the probability that today's floor price is the same as like the movement in today's floor price is the same as yesterday's.
I haven't run that. I should though. I mean, it certainly feels like momentum. Like, I mean, the crazy thing about NFTs is as they get cheaper, they get less interesting to buy. Like it's, you know, that's like the Veblen goods term that every NFT trader knows and no one else in the world knows, you know, is that as these things get more expensive, you get more FOMO, and as they get cheaper, like there's no FOMO, like they actually get less interesting. So I'm like, that certainly feels like the trend, but I can run those numbers and check that out.
Because that's the thing I'm most worried about right now, is that number has gone up massively. And now we're in a situation over the next 2 months where, as this liquidity gets sucked out, momentum's already also very, very high, and things can get. That's why people are getting annoyed, because there is no real reason why CloneX should have just gone down. It made some mistakes, but that's like a huge move for some of these, or and that's across the board for a lot of projects. I think most projects are down like 30 to 40% over the last 30 days. That's a big move. Even the blue chips are moving like 20. And I think I don't know what changes that over the next month or two.
I think nothing changes, bro. It's just going to be the same game for the next 30, 40 days. I think that's what people are tired of. I have no interest in that. I've been just picking and choosing like the art I want to buy lately. Like my last 15 NFT buys, like I bought a bunch of NFTs this month, and they were all like either Pepe's or like little things here and there just to like join a community, but I'm not buying anything of size.
A couple things I would clarify though. One, I actually don't think the airdrop farming was going to end if they stopped this. It was just going to go to, it wasn't going to be double rewards. I think that their incentivization, it could go on for years, because they've said, like, if you look at the community pool that they're giving, like they have it kind of allocated out the next 3 years. It was just, instead of double rewards, it was going to be single rewards, but people were still going to do it, so I don't think it was going to go away. I think the people who really got screwed are the people who went hard in the first month. And that's why Machi, because those are the ones whose first month of hard work got devalued. And the reason Machi gets singled out is because he's the only one who's lost like insane amount. I mean, he's lost $8 million in season 1. And no one else has lost that much money. And I think when you say things like this wouldn't have been possible with Blur, without Blur, your sale, it really wouldn't have been possible without Blur, their incentive structure, and Machi Big Brother, because he lost $2.5 million. So like, this was not like a sustainable thing that Blur made possible. It was actually you guys making money, nothing wrong with that, and someone else losing a ton of money because this incentive structure fished them into a bad trade, which he has since been fished into twice more. And he lost just as much money on Gitcoin Presents and just as much money on CryptoPunks. But like, it's kind of like the combination of this incentive structure with a couple people who are willing to just make terrible economic decisions because of it.
So I guess the play then really is, because if and we didn't do this on the show, but if you'd played like the next move of this, we could have predicted this would happen 3 months ago, right? That at some stage these incentives would start to be less attractive and everything would start to collapse. There will be a point where that dies off, and then some of the blue chip NFTs will be great buys, in my opinion, as like that spirals down and you get quite drastic price action. I do think the next move is really like, when do you want to buy a CryptoPunk, or when do you want to buy a Bored Ape, or when do you want to buy a Mutant, because or any of these top NFTs, because it does feel as though in 2 months we could be seeing a situation where they're down a lot. But right now we're at the peak almost, or the last 30 days have been the peak of that impact of that, that liquidity suck out of the system. And that will gradually, diminish as well, I think, the further and further out we get. So I know it depends on what you just said. Like, how long are they going to keep these incentives going for? Like, how much dry powder they do? If they're doing this for 3-4 months at the same sort of pace, this could be a drawn out period. And that becomes the question then, really, is like, when do you think that marginal impact of Blur increasing another month of airdrops really doesn't really matter? And that's when you're probably meant to buy, isn't it?
I think you got to wait, and the scary part will be when people are no longer incentivized to put in bids for NFTs they don't want, because those bids, there's so much of an addiction still to airdrop farming that that bids start to form within 2 hours if there's no trades. And eventually you get up to like 50, 60. So it really, like, people own a ton of NFTs they don't want to hold long term. And I think you need those guys to get out of those positions. If there's a time, like if you were to say like there's no longer any incentive to bid and all these guys are just stuck, and the only like there's one guy who's long 175 Azukis from airdrop farming who, he had been up and down trend. I think it's a Azuki whale. So I think he can be really patient, and I don't think he's going to destroy the project. He doesn't want to, but he does not want to be stuck with 177 Azukis. And the reason I know that is because when he's been profitable, he's been dumping them. But you have people like that in every single project who are long 20, 30 pudgies, moonbirds, doodles, that they're just like trying to manipulate the bidders into so they can sell. But when that bidder is no longer there, the only buyers are going to be people who actually want to be part of these brands for a long term. Like that, I feel is the scary point, is like what happens when you no longer have this incentive. And the only thing that's left is people who actually like believe in these teams. And then like, to me, almost that's the moment. There's so much FOMO at that point that people are like, holy shit, like things are about to rip and go, but that just feels so foreign to the current moment.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, I think all your points make sense. I guess all we can do is wait and see how it plays out, right? And we have to wait another month. I don't know. I thought it was an April Fool's joke at first. I thought like, oh, it's like, because April Fool's. By the way, everybody be careful. April 1st, you're gonna get hit by all sides, and that's around the corner. But I thought it was a joke. I thought they're like pulling something on April 1st. They're going to say something different. But then I saw the hate and stuff. I was like, oh.
What do you guys think the announcement, the thing that they were working on that got delayed was? Like, it sounds like it was something big if they were going to change their whole.
Clearly, yeah.
Something new.
Clearly,
it's a roadmap for the token, no? Like I
reckon the way that I see it is if you look at what they've been doing, they've been adding new features every time. So first you just could trade on it. Then it was like you could make listings. Then it was like you could make collection bids. And I think the next natural thing for them is to be able to, like, something you can do on OpenSea that you can't do on Blur is to bid certain traits. So I can really imagine us get to May and then they're like, okay, cool. Now you can bid on traits within the collections. I think people will see that as a positive because it will encourage people to start thinking about rarities and traits and that kind of stuff again.
Bid on traits in OpenSea.
I'm talking about Blur, not OpenSea. You can't do it on Blur.
Okay.
And so I think that will kind of be a positive because it will like make collecting again. But I bet you they'll say, and this is going to be the airdrop season 3. Like you'll get points from bidding certain traits and certain rarities and that kind of stuff. And then like that's the next thing. And the next thing will be another new feature. And like, you just keep this thing going for the whole year until you can like drive out OpenSea. Like that's what I would do if I was them.
From my one conversation with OpenSea, they say they have years of runway. So I think the idea of making them go bankrupt isn't. Like it's not I don't think that's a real
I don't think
possibility, but I think what they want is they want to keep volumes high and keep that token price high. Like no one's been able to cash out yet. Like, and their whole narrative, every tweet is like, congratulations to holders, Blur did 80% of the volume. And I just think they want those numbers that you can put in decks and you can show people about how much market share you have. I think they just want that stuff to stay as high as possible.
Yeah, that's fair.
Surely the announcement was going to be probably a big one and something like to their and I know like we talk about Blur being net positive, negative, but they're good at shipping shit. So surely like that one when you ask like what do you think this April 1st announcement was going to be, surely it had to be something substantial enough for them to like there it's got to be something like of importance, right?
For me, the big question is when do they turn on the fees? Like Blur is not making any money.
Dude, they don't care right now. They're like they have this number one.
I know. I get all this, and they have funding.
Their money's that token, man.
They have the runway. But that's the thing.
Equities token, so they just need that token to stay high, and the token doesn't care about fees.
It's at 50.
Right, but then you have to have a sync for the token. Like at the moment, no one knows what this token is. It's a governance token which everyone is earning. But why would you ever buy Blur?
What if you could start listing and selling NFTs in Blur and like buying and selling NFTs?
Why does that matter? Like, I don't think that's an incentive.
Isn't Matic just a government token? Like, aren't so many government tokens worth billions of dollars? And crypto has shown it can maintain that for years.
Yeah.
I think with the rate of emissions that they have, it's very, very difficult to not bring out some sort of sync for that token. Like, Looks Rare and XTY do have some sort of burn rate, I think, with both their tokens. Maybe they bring out that, and that helps pump back up the token. But that's only created if they actually bring in some other revenue for the protocol, which would be an increase in some sort of trading fees.
I think the Blur token is just about the narrative. I think it's about people having fun. I mean, otherwise it wouldn't be at 1.6 billion now. And all these guys need is for it to be like their insiders can sell in like 4 months. And clearly people are like, holy shit, Blur has 80% market share of all ETH volumes. Like, let's buy. Like, I think like they need that. I don't know if they need anything, you know. And my guess is they want
I
that.
think that's so short term. Like like we can't just have
This is short
nothing
term.
that it uses for. Like they've got to decide when they're gonna do all this. And maybe it is a year down the line. Maybe it's 2 years. I agree with you. Like maybe I'm thinking too early, but
maybe it's some people say maybe it's 750. I mean, there is a roadmap, right? It's not a roadmap. I mean, it's an idea map that they had posted. I just don't know.
I just think the way the people get paid who care about this stuff is if Blur token stays high. And we've seen from Luxor and X2Y2 that going fees and distributing fees to the token holders is a losing strategy. Like, you know, I just can't. And what they're doing right now is working. Their token's still worth $1.6 billion in terms of like overall fully diluted market cap. So
that's the loyalty rewards already came out, right? This came out, right? The loyalty rewards. Or that's what people are doing right now, loyalty rewards. Is that what it's called per their idea map? So I'm assuming redacted would have been.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess I gotta hop because I gotta finish my video. But sorry to talk.
Your video. What's the name of the YouTube? Is it's all on Proof, right?
It's just the Proof Daily Countdown. I publish it. We publish it every afternoon U.S. time, but I normally finish it by like 9 a.m. Pacific. And then we have
I love it.
I like that.
Every day.
I
watch it every day. So
hey, thank you guys.
We haven't heard from Ovi in about in about 25 minutes. Just been drawing there.
It means a lot.
Now I gotta go work. Now you've added the pressure. I gotta go make it good. So all right, I'll see you guys soon. Always good to talk to you guys.
Have a good one, King. Thanks for coming. Well, that was great. That was a good conversation. Absolutely love to see it. Let me help Sam Harry. Boom. So that was a great conversation. And by the way, when I muted the Twitter space by accident, doubled the numbers on YouTube. So you know what? Maybe some days I fuck around and I mute Twitter when I say the stubs code.
People love that.
Why not? Yeah.
It's to make it more fair. And maybe some days I mute myself on YouTube and I give the subs code on Twitter spaces. You know, yeah. You know, listen. Our show, our rules. Okay. But what was I gonna say? That was a great conversation. That was good. I think we kind of like encompassed a little bit of everything, and that was some great takes that definitely make for a great segment. Which we, by the way, great segments always posted on YouTube at all times. So definitely check it out. The other news that came out, Mando, I guess on the NFT side, by the way, we never really like finished NFTs or whatnot, but there's nothing much else to report on, right? Like when I look at
people. Politics is bullshit traded again at like 72 ETH, which I thought.
Oh, wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, when I look at Degens Finance right now, there's not
in months.
I mean, Beeple said himself
exactly
he's got something coming. I mean, and for Beep, oh wait, did he?
He did. No. He tweeted at himself.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. It's right there. I retweeted it.
What's coming?
Floor's now 300 ETH. It traded at 71. So
big news coming. That's what Beeple said. I don't think many people. The thing with Beeple is you don't know what the news is going to be about. Take ETF, or it's going to be about a Beeple art, or it's going to be about something. But for Beeple to write this, it's big news. With Beeple means big news. It's not, an announcement type thing. It's not. It can't be small. It can't be like It's just always like it's always a banger. So this is something that personally makes me very, 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 very excited about it. Which is you said politics is bullshit. Is his floor price on like the regular editions, which by the way I still think like one day we're gonna look back and think this is like ridiculous that they were selling at that price at 13 ETH. Into the ether, that's a piece I've always wanted. At some point I'm definitely gonna grab one because to me it's like iconic people. I love that piece. And the bull run piece, of course, is such a classic. I mean, this is from the 2020 collection, right? So it's pretty cool. But he's got his work a little scattered around. So you got to look. That's the 5,000 Days collection. It's different. Where's the politics?
That's the special edition.
I know, but it's harder to find Beeple work on open. Like, it's tough on
special edition. I think it's called special edition. Maybe.
Special. Oops. Beeple special.
Going through.
It is. So it's at 79 ETH right now, right? The floor for that. Oh wow, it's actually number 1 of 100. That's listed at that price.
I know. I'm looking at Genesis collection. What are you looking at?
Am I looking at a fake? Yeah, I'm looking at a fake. Sorry, dude. That's the thing, though.
Bring it there.
impossible to find people's work
Put it
on
in the
OpenSea.
chat. Put it in the chat. It's called
There it
Genesis.
is. I found it. So there's only one listed. Politics is bullshit.
Okay,
It
yeah.
was sold for 71.5 ETH to cowboy.eth here. And the
Not
last,
a very liquid collection, but some
No.
diamond hands in there. It looks like
I mean, this is quite the classic. And how many editions were there? There was 100 of those.
there's really not that many. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
The other thing is, other deeds are now back up.
Sorry.
Whoa.
Other deeds are
I
nearly
had
up to
no idea
2
this had
ETH now.
sound.
Yeah, me neither. I just found out it had sound. Oh, nice. This is a Beeple if I've ever seen one. Anyways, you were saying other deeds?
Other deeds up
Still
to
play.
nearly 2 ETH now, so that's moving quite a lot. Digidai Gaku, I think, had quite a decent move up. A bunch of those traded back up 20%. I don't know what else has been a big mover.
Probably going to be brewing for, again, Yuga Eco, right? Like Yuga Eco, I mean, we're end of March, they said, for Mecha to reveal Mecha type. So you have to imagine that heavy metal is going to have some sort of a move here. Bored Ape Yacht Club and Mutant pretty much stable coin these days, over 60 and 13.
Egods seem to have a successful Utes seem to have a successful transfer over.
Utes are having an extremely successful transfer over. As a matter of fact, it was 10,000 last night that were already moved over. So Utes is a 15,000 collection. And out of 15,000, I believe there was 1,600 tubes, which means that's 13.4K Utes that were minted, revealed, and a 10K already moved over. And that was last night. So now if I go, let's just go to Magic Eden because that's where they trade more.
11.5 roughly.
Wow.
The full price is 1.7.
You guys should add it now that it's on. Oh, you can't, right? Because you don't have Polygon NFTs yet on DJ.
Yeah, we do. We can add it. We can add it.
No, you had the Trump cards. It's true. You can add them. Sorry.
You know.
So Ryan Smith, CEO of Polygon, the Utes NFT migration has been incredible. Majority of the Utes have now been migrated to Ox Polygon. The volume is soaring now, and it's true because Frank shared the stats from Crypto Slam earlier, and it was showing that Polygon closing the gap on the 24-hour volume is 1.9 million, still on a 3 mil. So all it took is really have one big project out there for it to have big volume. So it's actually pretty impressive. And he says there's a massive project launching as well on Polygon in April. That's when the volume will likely flip on the 24-hour. Then the 7-day. So it seems like April will be a big month for Polygon, and that they have something pretty big going on that front. But it's gonna be interesting to follow this race here to see who's gonna claim second spot for.
Weirdly, there's also been another like raw kind of hyped Polygon mint called Brozo, which has happened around the same time, which I think is actually beating them for sales. But like it's kind of weird. But yeah, Utes floor price has held up very, very well. Maybe that'll be a big trend now for Magic Eden as well. The majority of the trades happening on Magic Eden, they're not happening on OpenSea, which I think kind of makes sense, right? Most of the collectors kind of like Magic Eden as a platform.
I mean, there's been a lot of boom. I mean, I saw that they launched an NFT with Fair, right? Polygon themselves, the Polygon Labs. So they launched an NFT on Fair, which was like soulbound NFT to mark the fact that you were there during the ZKVM mainnet's beta launch, which is when like Vitalik marked the moment too, like he sent the first transaction. So shout out to the Fair team because that is cool. I mean, it got a ton of engagement and a lot of views. So it was pretty cool. Polygon had tweeted, claim your piece of history and be part of what's to come next. Celebrate the release of Polygon ZK EVM mainnet beta with a mintable Fair XYZ NFT. So
71,000 minted.
How many?
71,000.
Yeah, shout out to Fair for this. Listen, I'm pretty happy that we're doing stubs with them. Like this makes me more. This should make you all very, very bullish in stubs because it's pretty impressive. 71.3K minted, 4K left. They have their mint requirements to follow both. I'm actually gonna go and mint that because I love myself a free NFT that marks a piece of like history. So I think that is pretty cool. So definitely a lot of stuff brewing on the Polygon side. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the meta in the coming month, as ETH is dealing with the blur stuff, comes from Polygon directly because of the Utes effect. More attention, more eyes, more people want to drop price. Again, be careful there. Like same thing. There's gonna be that. Also, a quick shout out. I'm trying to be more aware of this, like of the people doing cool drops. Like yesterday, I did mention Schiller. I minted mine. It's like 0.01 ETH or something. It was cool. But Killer Acid has a drop. he's got a drop coming. It's fun. Someone mentioned it right now, Bear Dude in the chat. Blur Shrooms by Killer Acid. So I know he's got a drop on the way. Can't wait to see what happens. I'm not exactly sure how many units is that. It's 0.03. It's 1,000 NFTs at a 0.03 mint price. Pretty cool. And the piece is dope. I was talking to him last night. I had to tell him that sadly I already own his piece because I did right click save it, so it's mine now. But it's it's pretty cool. I love his work. His one of ones are not really really attainable, so it's cool to be able to collect something like that of his. And I obviously obviously a big fan of his work. I mean, obviously
This
this
is
is
the Escher exclusives, right?
pardon me.
Are these part of the D's and Andy platform? I remember seeing something they were bringing out like limited edition drops.
Yes, but I don't believe it is with. It says verified Twitter Chainsaw NFT and verified Discord Chainsaw Fawn. There's no mention of Escher here, so I don't.
Chainsaw is a different platform. Yeah.
That they did the pegs right at the time.
Yeah.
So that I believe it's with Chainsaw, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it is definitely with Chainsaw. Here you can let me just share on the screen real quick. So that's something to pay attention to if you're in the space. Obviously, Killer Acid, regular listener, and adult person. Have we made a special guest spot of Killer Acid on this show yet?
We should.
We've had him, but we haven't done a spotlight on him, right? We have room Friday. I'll talk to him. So we could do it with him. So that'd be really cool. So this is it. This is a drop. You love to see it. Speaking of Escher, I saw they hired actually Depeche Mode. So there's obviously some stuff. Node Mode. He was doing it. I don't know if he's still got a show with Nifty Portal, but he's part of the crew there, and he works with Escher. And the additions work is starting on Thursday there, I believe. So that's what you're talking about, Mando. You gotta love this this meme here. Excited for Thursday. Additions. So there's gonna be a whole bunch of additions happening on Escher, of course. Big shout out to D's, Andy over there, and their stuff. Look, like a lot of cool stuff brewing on the art side. I saw Ledger is now getting into editions as well. They're going to be doing on the Ledger market. Like if you have the actual Ledger Genesis NFT or something, double check before you go out and buy Ledger NFTs. But go check on their website, on their Twitter. There's definitely something going on there. We have stubs going on, which I find really fun and cool, and people can get rewarded for listening. We have 20 artists lined up. I just checked. I think it's 20 super rare artists or something, but it's actually wild. I saw a message from Kevin KD in the fair chat earlier this morning. A lot of fun stuff brewing there. And speaking of fair, it is now the time for the code for stubs. So everybody get ready, get up, stand up and get ready. So for those of you who are not aware, if you are new to the show, every single day on the GM Web3 morning show on Rug Radio, if you go to rug.fm/stubs, stubs, and then you head over to rug.fm/rewards to claim your rug token. If you're a holder, make sure you opt into a rewards program. There's bounties on there for performing all sorts of actions on all socials: YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, following, liking, replying, retweeting, all sorts of shit. But little by little, it adds up, and you have a whole bunch of rug token that you can then use to go and exert your governance within the rug ecosystem. And a lot more stuff that we got brewing. I got a sneak peek yesterday of some of the tech that Locks and G-Man have been working on for Rug Radio, and it's pretty cool. I gotta say, I like it. I saw it last night late. I was hyped up. So anyway, so you go on this website, and basically every single day, Monday to Friday, we give a code on the show that you can use for rewards, but also for stubs by being a holder of any of the Rug Radio NFTs, but also Degens access pass of the Degens ecosystem, which I'm sure a lot of you in the audience have, because at this stage, it's like all the listeners either have like a Red Guy or Rug Radio NFT, which I love to see, or both, and both for the most part. And then what you get to do is you collect stubs every day. But what happens is at the end of each week, there is then a claim. So you burn the stubs. So there's only 728 right now, and it's going to be more by the end of the week. And you get to burn the stubs for a piece of artwork. This week, GDR Tweets, who came in on Monday, presented his work. You should totally go see back because it's a beautiful segment. You get to mint a sick piece of artwork for 1 stub, or for 3 stub, you get a different iteration. Week to week, every artist may have a different vibe, and some weeks they'll have more, some weeks they're going to have less. So it's pretty cool. And when you do the math here on this, Mando, because I did it, with the little amount of them listed, it's going to be interesting once we have our first burn to see how many are there, because only it's 728, right, guys? It's going to be 100 more today.
We're going to be burning them.
Thursday, 100 more Friday. So 300 more coming between today, tomorrow, and Friday, right? So it's going to be 1,000. Call it 1,000. Claim, let's say 1,000, and let's say 400 people claim it. it's gonna be interesting to see the dynamics of that, and then the next artist, and the
Well, that's
next.
what I thought was always interesting about it, because you have that issue of, right, how many will burn to get an art piece, and then you could get some very limited edition art pieces from artists, right? So, and then the more limited edition the art piece is, often the more valuable it is. So you create that like tension between between the burn and what's coming out there. So
No, I
you know,
love
if we make the burn high enough for some of these pieces, like they could be very, very limited edition, and that can have a lot of value.
And you could pick, like, you could gameplay it, and that's why we don't want to give like a roaster ahead, because like then people are gonna gamify it like this. But like we rather let you have fun, and plus the show is meant to be fun. So, anyways, are you ready for the code of the day? I need to find out what the code is. Oh, there it is. Oh, we love that code. The code for today's stub and rug token is Cold Wallet. COLDWALLET. Cold Wallet. Cold Wallet. Cold Wallet. Cold Wallet. Cold Wallet. That's anyways, okay. But Cold Wallet, COLDWALLET. Cold Wallet. That is the code to claim your free stub. As usual, if you miss out, it's okay. You can find them on OpenSea. You just go on this little thing here, boom, and it directs you directly to our OpenSea. They're not on Blur, sorry y'all, because it's the RC 1155. So you have to go through OpenSea or Jam or Uniswap or all the other, I'm sure the other platforms and whatnot. And then also go on OpenSea, because you can see the artwork that you're gonna get. But anyways, you should definitely start stacking up your stubs. So you obviously love to see that. I love even Mando that there's like a standing 0.01 ETH bid on it. It's just like $20. Like, worst case, you listen to the show and you just dump it and you're happy and you got your stub and there you go, $20. It's like it's like one coffee in LA. And maybe like one, like you can go like 1 mile in the cab in London with $20, but it's still $20. So obviously love to see it. Wouldn't be surprised if it's gone by now. Let me see. There's still some left. There's 41 of 100 minted. So Cold Wallet, COLDWALLET. And then what you do, you go to rug.fm/rewards, and then you opt in for the rewards here. And what you do is that you log in with your Twitter or Discord. We have to do that. It's for protection of bots. And you have to have a minimum of 50 followers on Twitter. There's some requirements, obviously. And then you log in with your wallet that has your Rug Radio assets in there. You can delegate. You can do all that. Or just like send a membership pass in there, because then the membership pass is like pretty cheap on the timeline. And if you're not part of the Rug Radio ecosystem and you want to be part of stubs and be part of the rewards, just go pick up a Face of Web3, literally like 0.03 ETH on the floor, or like a membership as like 0.01, and come and be part of this, because it's pretty cool. And we've got a lot of stuff coming up. And then all you have to do is claim secret code. So Cold Wallet, boom, like that. And you're done. It's that easy. And you have claimed it. So absolutely love to see it. Let me go see how we're looking on stubs. Rug.fm/stubs, of course. And then what I would say is, make sure you have the conditions met. That's the alpha. And it's sold out. It is sold out again. Love to see that. It's claimed. So head over to rug.fm to / rewards to do that. So boom. There you go.
What do you think we should do here? Do you think we should increase the number, increase the burn, or do you think we just?
I think we wait. I think we wait to see how what the dynamics are going to be once we start cranking up the artists, because GDR is fire. And I love his aura and his energy, and I think it was great opening. But like, we also have artists that some of them are smaller and some of them are bigger. Like, for example, Ovi. We all know he's doing a stub, and we all know he wants to make his stub limited. Wait, you're still doing it, right?
Yeah,
What the fuck?
I'm doing it.
He's doing it right now.
I'm not doing it right now.
The point being, Ovi's doing a stub. Obviously, his work sometimes has more demand than others, but I know that Ovi, for example, wants to limit his supply to respect the rest of his holders and the rest of his projects. So that's the hardest stuff to get. So my thinking, Mando, is at some point, some artists, like the bigger ones, are going to want to burn more stubs and do less editions. So that's going to fuck shit up within the thing. So we don't, let's see what happens. Fuck shit up in a good way.
Who knows?
Who knows? It's going to be super. And again, I like this once a week. It's just one artwork a week. Like
Katie said yesterday to me, it's over 20 super rare artists now.
Yeah. No, I saw the chat. Yeah. It's really cool. And they're like we're lined up until like the end of times. So it's super cool. And I can't wait for the rest of it. But anyways,
I missed the end of that interview with
It was great. It was great. It was
Yeah.
great. Yeah. We were going to make it so Mondays we'll just do 11:30 to 12 a segment for the artists instead of 10, 15 minutes because it's not enough because it's actually like a lot of fun talking to artists, right? It's like in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Yeah, you can talk about a stub for 10 minutes, but like we
He
want
was
to
great. He was a great first artist ever.
Dude.
I like the fact as well that we're going to have a lot of, because so many artists say like, oh, it's difficult for me to get known, to be seen by a lot of collectors. Like it's nice to have that conversation and build it. And it was just like, oh yeah, I now like look at his art now all the time.
Yeah, me too.
I'm gonna do that with a bunch of different artists now.
I looked at all this shit and people were saying they love him in the chat. But you know what's cool is it just like allows us also like anytime there's a conversation about art, it's automatically a better vibe. Like in the night show, we talk about art a little more because it's like these and me, like we just end up falling in a spiral, like me buying NFTs during the show because I'm chilling at night and stuff. Like, and it's cool. It's cool that we just get to do that because artists are dope and they're essential to the space. So it's definitely always a fun thing to be able to chat about this and also share something special because giving away a ERC20 is cool. Like the rug token, we do it every day, but again, like to the point Sam was making about NFTs and Blur, like the ERC 721s are made to be built, in my opinion, not for being altcoins with pictures, but to actually build community around them and to actually like a culture and like an audience and everything. So it's definitely super cool. So anyway, so I know that we had the title of we can talk about the UK government. We'll talk about the Yuga Labs thing another time, but the headline just quickly on the UK government and then we'll just go off with our days. UK government drops plans for NFT made by Royal Mint. To me, that read they're dropping their plans, meaning they have
I know.
to have some plans, but turns out that I was wrong. And my read on drops is not quite the read. Labour criticizes Rishi Sunak vanity project announced weeks before collapse in value cryptocurrency. The UK government has dropped its plans to produce a non-fungible token for sale through the Royal Mint just under a year after it first announced the project. In response to a question from the Conservative PM Harriet Baldwin, the Treasury's Economy Secretary Andrew Griffith confirmed the abandonment, saying, in consultation with HM Treasury, the Royal Mint is not proceeding with the launch of the non-fungible token at this time, but will keep the proposal under review. I'm reading that it's because Mando moved to the UK and that the UK could not collect the taxes on that sale of the Bored Apes, and so they were pissed. But Mando, can you please confirm or deny?
They said a lack of interest. I mean, I'm just one man.
Here's what it is. They're saying this out of touch government should be focused on the cost of living crisis, not wasting time and taxpayers' money on an NFT vanity project and promoting dodgy stable coins. Bro, I guess it's the pressure. It's the pressure of all of it. Because it's not like, yeah, they put someone appointed to work on NFTs that they're going to stop working on the people's crisis. But I guess I get it from the optics.
Yeah, look, it's not great. I think the UK is still going down a more crypto-friendly route. There's no doubt in my mind that it sees a route towards regulatory arbitrage, essentially, like doing what the US isn't doing or Europe isn't doing, and it's a lot more flexible now after Brexit. So it's going to do this sort of stuff. I think the other interesting one in terms of news coming out, which I actually didn't put in the titles, but the TikTok ban, which the details of it seem to have come out a bit more of the last 24 hours, which is this ban, which is going to be voted on by both US houses. I think it's going to start with the House of Representatives, but it looks like it's a pretty aggressive bit of legislation. Like it looks like they can repeal use of pretty much any website and get your information whenever they want, particularly things like VPNs, which are used to get around these sort of blocks on using things. Everyone's used a VPN. You use it to basically get onto a website when you're not in that country, or you just want to remain anonymous. And it seems as though there is a lot of power in this bill to basically collect data whenever it's deemed some form of a security threat. So, look, I'm not in the US. but there's obviously been a lot of questions in the past about the extent to which the
Mhm.
US secretly keeps people's data, essentially. And obviously that's come out in various different things in WikiLeaks and some of the other big public leaks of documents. But this looks like it has the sort of thing that gets voted in, and then 5 years down the line, you hear about all this stuff that the US government's been doing. And it's, there's a lot of power in this, it looks like, for them to basically have a carte blanche to do whatever they want.
Yeah. I mean, fuck, dude. It's what a just crazy time. Like, you're seeing. Anyways, I'm not gonna go there. I was gonna say, you're seeing what's happening in France and a couple other countries. It's just wild, dude. It's just like I'm here, like in my little crypto bubble, like in this room that I literally don't leave, like most of like only like maybe once a week. So I don't know. It's just really, really wild. Yeah. And that bill with the TikTok and like they want to ban VPNs and all that. It's buckle up, everyone. Buckle up, work hard, make your money, take your money out, put your crypto in a cold storage and, and just like, make sure you're good. And all that stuff. I'm seeing someone on the timeline is trying to bet me a 50-day bet on the Nakamigos. I take it. Higher floor 50 days from now than today. I'm dead ass.
What's the price now?
0.4 something.
I mean, Goblin Town was
I reckon
above
we're
that
lower
for a
than
long
that.
time.
Yeah, but there's only one Goblin Town. That shit was
I
crazy.
know, but what I'm trying to say is I would never bet,
In
particularly if
50
you bet on it. If you bet on that, it's
That's the
100%
thing.
above
No,
that price.
That's the thing. These motherfuckers. But you know what though? I kind of feel like taking a small bet so that it does that, and then that guy has to get the ass tat. You're playing chess. I'm playing checkers.
Yeah, but what you've got there is what we would call a straddle. It has to be above 0.45 and below 1 ETH, and it could easily be in that situation.
So we call it straddle. Anyways, tune in tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Same YouTube. So make sure you subscribe to the Rug Radio YouTube because the night show with GN Web3 on Monday and Wednesday, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern is also on here. Speaking of YouTube, speaking of shows, Rec Radio, you guys have quite the banger of a show today.
I know we got another
Right?
OG coming on the show.
Isn't this guy like massive? I didn't necessarily follow like this niche, but poker. But he apparently he's quite the guy, huh?
Doug Polk is one of the most well-known poker. I mean, he's very popular essentially. Like everyone knows who he is. But yeah, we're getting some properly big poker players coming on.
I mean, this show, like that show is sick. Like this is like the Rec Radio. I always have it on like on one monitor. I just like look at it on YouTube. It made it like even 100 times better. And same thing for our morning show. So Doug Polk is coming on Rec Radio. 3 World Series of poker bracelets, $10 million in live tournament earnings. One of the biggest poker personalities. So that's not small. And then you get the Rollbit because of course Rollbit is partnered with us on the show. And you get every night, every show to win something. Actually, last time someone won again, right? I saw someone win what? A dick butt. That was funny.
Someone won a rare dick butt.
Yeah, no, I was watching. So it's today at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's usually, just so y'all know, I know last week was different timing for Raw Pal, but Rec Radio is usually Wednesdays. 1 p.m. Eastern. And that's when one of the boys is not traveling. But big shout out to Mando for being the only person out of the 3 that has showed up to every single show. Of course, credit goes where credit is due. But today, make sure you set your reminders here for Rec Radio episode 19. It's going to be a banger and it takes place in exactly 1 hour. And I wasn't supposed to have a meeting, and now I have a meeting in an hour. Rest in peace, but it's fine. We can make it happen. So with that, we'll see y'all tomorrow morning. 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for another episode of Gem Web 3 on Rug Radio. Let's go.
And it's a beautiful day to have a beautiful day. GM on this beautiful day. Good morning to Web3 with Barocco, Sep, and Mando. Tune in live at 10:30. And it's all on Rug Radio. It's a beautiful day to have a beautiful day. GM, Rug Radio.
Whoops, I forgot to end this broadcast. 1 second. I guess we showed up again on camera.